The Talksport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the Talksport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search Talksport Fan Network.
Welcome, Cherries fans, back to Cherry Picking, and thank you for joining us. Now, of course, we are going to cover everything AFC Bournemouth in one quick show, but I have two very special guests and two regulars, of course, with me. Next to me, of course, to my right-hand side, we have got Mr. Matthew Harrison. How you doing, Matt?
Yeah, not bad, Craig. Always good to be back on Cherry Picking. Obviously, wasn't here last week, so it's nice to be back with you two gentlemen this week. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
100%. And just down below, we have got Mr. Malcolm Chiverton. How you doing, Malcolm?
Yeah, hi, Craig. Hi, Matt. Yeah, thanks for the invite again. Good to be here.
Not a problem. It's always a pleasure to see your face, Malcolm. So good to have you with us. I tell you what, let's start with our regular slot, which is Guess the Cherry. And this is going to be a toughie this week. So let me bring it up full screen for you. Matt, do you want to read through the clues?
Yeah, so quite just a few clues this week. So this player was born on the 1st of April, 1929 in Derry, Northern Ireland. So I'm sure our good friend Johnny Blair will get this straight away. He played for Bournemouth and Boscombe Athletic between 1955 and 1958, where he played 96 matches, scoring 34 goals, including a legendary FA Cup run in 1956-57, which, if people will remember, that's where the goalpost got pulled down at Wolves. Reg Cutler, I think, was the person that pulled that down. And he became a cult hero by distracting opponents during throw-ins. So he would jump up and down in front of the player trying to take a throw-in, which was perfectly legal in the rules at the time. So there you go. There's your clues.
Wow, that's a tough one. You've not made it easy. You know, to be fair, if anybody remembers watching this player, you know, and was in their teens watching this player, they've done bloody well. So, yeah, well done to you. But answers in the comments or, you know, on a postcard, you know, do address them to Up the Cherries in all departments. You know, just stick it in the post box, or no, just stick it in the comments. Stick it in the email. Everything's email nowadays. But there we go. I tell you what, let's talk about one man who has departed AFC Bournemouth, and that is this man. Mr. Philip Billin has gone back to Denmark, and he's gone to join FC Midtjylland. You might not be able to spell it, but I'm sure Phil can. And yeah, it's sad to see his time come to an end, but you know, at least he's gone somewhere that, you know, I think he's wanted to go to for a while. And you know, a club as well that, you know, potentially could get back into Europe at some point.
Yeah, quite possibly. And like I say, week in, week out, Craig, if you could lead which one of us on you'd like us to speak first, that'd be very helpful.
I do apologise, you know, to be fair, that's
so
me being a bit daft.
Who you handed it to?
Well, I tell you what, seeing as you've started talking, Matt, do you want to continue?
I can continue.
Okay.
Continue. Thank you. Yeah, if you can lead myself and Malcolm in, that would be very helpful.
I shall do, not a problem at all.
Myself and Malcolm sat here. Yeah, Yeah, you're very right. They've got every chance of getting back into Europe. 13 years Phil Bill has spent here. Not obviously just at Bournemouth, but obviously he came across to Huddersfield. I think he was 16, I think, when he signed for Huddersfield. And obviously worked his way up into the Premier League with them. And that's when obviously he must have caught our eye because the following season, I think they went down, didn't they? And he signed for us. So, he's going to have some standout memories. Obviously, that goal against Forest that he set Kiefer Moore up with that fly free kick, I think will probably be everyone's standout memory. But yeah, when you look back at some of his goals as well, I mean, again, at Nottingham Forest, I think he scored an absolute screamer a few seasons back. I think since Andoni's come in, unfortunately, I think, our play has probably outgrown him. I think he's been probably slightly left behind. But when he has had to come in and do a job, he has done a job for us. I think he's been quite versatile as well, which has always been a plus. And I think when he kind of was put in behind the front man, I think Gary O'Neill did it for a bit, didn't he? And he was playing in behind Dom. He chipped in with quite a few goals. I think all in all, I think it's probably the right time for him. He's played really well for us over the years. I mean, he got relegated with us and he stuck with us. He didn't throw his toys out of the pram and want to move. He saw us back into the Premier League. And like I say, that free kick that he did with Kiefer Moore, I think will stay in everyone's memories. There's going to be a lot of things that we look back very, very fondly on Phil Bill. And yet just wish the guy all luck. And I just hope he has a good rest of his career. I'll keep an eye out for him like I do with, all Cherries players. It's always good to see how former players are doing. And fair play to him. I think it's fair. I think it's right. He doesn't want to be on the bench. He wants to be playing, just like any player does. And I think, it's probably the right time for both him and the club that, he's made this move. So, and it was rumoured to be 5 million as well. So I don't think that's a bad sum for him, considering what we paid for him and what we've got out of him, and to get that back in return, I think it's not a bad bit of business. So all in all, for the club and for the player, I think it's the best move. And I wish him all the best.
And Malcolm, actually, I've just had a quick check. FC Midtjylland were actually playing today in the Europa League playoff, and they beat their opponents 6-0 on aggregate. A team called, I'm going to really struggle saying this. Sorry if you're a fan of this football club. I really do apologise for butchering your football team's name beforehand. But Kupion Palloseria, they beat today 2-0. Ending up 6-0 on aggregate in Finland. So they will be in the Europa League. And Phil Billing, how much impact will that really have on his career, actually playing European football for a team in his home country of Denmark?
Well, first of all, he's got to get into the team. As you so rightly said, we call them cups. So KUPS, it's the easiest form to pronounce that.
Before?
That Finnish team. Sorry?
Have you ever heard of them before? I'd never heard of them.
Yeah, if you have a look through the leagues, of course you can.
Oh, fair enough. I'd never heard of them. So there we are. I do apologise to
you're
all their
right.
fans.
I've actually got it here on my phone. Yeah, it was the first game up, and they won 2-0, as you so rightly said. So good for them. Good luck to Phil Bill. What a chance straight into Europe.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't have asked for better, I suppose. Last season, obviously going out on loan in Italy, must have done him some good. He was always only going to be a bit part player anyway with us, I think, now. A pretty good bit of business, as Matt said, that he's actually found a club. And hopefully, we'll see him in the lineups, which is something I like to do as well. I like to follow the ex-players and see what they're up to. When he came from Huddersfield, A lot of Huddersfield fans were saying that he was a lazy player. He doesn't do very much, but I mean, he hit it off with Bournemouth. And as Matt also said, not only being in the Premier League, getting relegated, he stayed with the club, which is great. He was part of the squad, that got us back up again. And yeah, he had some really decent games. My opinion is that he was better when he was like more forward.
Yeah.
His defensive play was not so good. And as you so rightly said, he scored some super goals. So he was pretty reliable. Yeah. And I think a lot of people won't forget him quite so easily. He's not going to be the standout player, but if anybody says Phil Bill, they know exactly who you mean, maybe in 5 or 10 years down the line. So, yeah, good. You can only wish him all the best, really.
Most definitely. And of course, everybody will remember that goal, that was more effective than the 5-point palm exploding heart technique. If you've never watched Kill Bill, then you won't get that. But, his goal with Kiefer More was definitely more impactful. There we go. Bringing up some great ones today, aren't I?
No.
Yeah. Moving swift.
Thanks, Malcolm. Honesty is the best policy, isn't it? Let's be honest. Let's talk about Daniel Adu-Ajayi, and this is a real shame.
Yes.
A strange one to let go, isn't he?
I think Malcolm should take the lead on this one because Malcolm's very fond of the player, so am I. But I think it's a strange one that I think we've let go. Obviously, let it go for a reason. But Malcolm, do you think this one's a strange one?
Not only strange, bit of a shock to me, to be honest with you, because I thought he was going to be part of this season. Certainly more on the bench, and given the opportunities, taking him away to America in the pre-season with the summer series and getting a run out. And I thought that was going to be the beginning, for his career to start taking off. So, yeah, bit of a shock to me that he's actually gone off to Croatia. Can only wish him luck, as with all of our players who depart. What a talent. What a talent. And I'm sure maybe it won't be too long. What's long in football? Maybe a season, 2 seasons, and somebody will snap him up, and you might see him playing another top league somewhere. Distinct possibility. But wish that had all the success in the world. Just a shame we couldn't have kept hold of him.
Matt, do you think this could be one that could come back to haunt us? You've seen those players that, and of course, one of the biggest ones recently made out was Erebeshi Eze, who, of course, was on Arsenal's books. I know he signed for Arsenal again, but he was let go by Arsenal as a youngster and has ended up there all these years later. And do you think this might be one that we regret?
Difficult question to answer. Time will tell. Time will tell. I think he's a very, very talented player. I think on our first episode of the Dean Court Social, we actually put him in amongst the substitutes because I thought he made a really good impact during the summer series. That I thought, like Malcolm said, that this could have been his season to start to make a breakthrough. If you look at like last season's stats, I think it was 16 games, 25 goals in the development squad.
Yes. Yep.
And I'm one of these that, always says, if you can score goals consistently at that level, you will score goals and have a decent career. And I think he's going to. Whether he could have done it at Bournemouth's level, we're now never going to know. Will he reach top levels in top European leagues? Time will tell. But I think he's got a very, very promising future. I really did think we were going to see a bit more of him this season. Only the likes of Frano and Pinto and Andoni can answer the reason why they've let him go. Do they think that he's grown to his capacity at Bournemouth and he won't develop any further and he's first team ready to go off at a certain level? I mean, who knows? It's questions that we can only just speculate and give our opinions on. And but yeah, I was, like Malcolm said, I was pretty shocked. And yeah, I think a bit of a strange one to say, he would leave. Obviously, I think some of the players that have left in recent weeks, and players that we're discussing on this show, I don't think we would say we're necessarily surprised by.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one was a bit of a surprise for me. But yeah, your question is a very, very difficult one to answer, but time will tell. And like I said about Billing, and like Malcolm said, he also does. We're keeping an eye on his career, and it'd be very, very interesting to see how it develops. And yeah, bit of a shock.
So there we are. That is Daniel Aduajay, who has left the club. Don't really understand it myself, but there must be a reason. Another player has left the club, and he's been here a long, long time. Believe it or not, he's still only 27 years old. And that
It's not.
is, it's not him. It's not him. Sorry. That is schoolboy error, number one from me. I'll tell you who it is. Aduajay definitely isn't, 27 years old. This man is. That is Chris Metham, and he's made a move to West Bromwich Albion. And I have been asked, and I've written a piece for thebaggybar.com, which do go and check it out. Andy Coulton is the webmaster there. Of course, if you remember back to when we played West Bromwich Albion, first game of the season in our promotion year, Andy Coulton actually come on the show for that game. And he did come on the show for the reverse game as well. Very, very nice gentleman based out in America. Matt, I'll come to you first about this one. Sad to see him go.
Yeah, I mean, Meps, like you say, he's been here for a long time. He hasn't really been really at the forefront of Andoni's sort of starting lineups, has he, since Andoni's been at the club.
No.
Yeah, a good player. I mean, you got to think of it from his, and with Chris, I always look at it from his point of view. He's got World Cup coming up next year. If Wales qualify, he needs to be playing games, and if he's not playing games at Bournemouth, he's got to be playing them somewhere. He had a great season at Sunderland last year. He's a really good, for me, I think Championship is his level.
Yeah.
Regular. He can do a job for you in the Premier League, but is he a first team starter? I don't think so. But in terms of his career, he needs to be playing games. He wants to be going to that World Cup. So unfortunately, he's had to make the move. I think the West Brom move, going to work under Ryan Mason's going to do him the world of good. I think Ryan Mason's a great coach. So I think it's a great move for Meps, and I really hope he does well. I hope he has a great season. Hope he stays injury free, and hopefully we get to see him at next year's World Cup. Yeah, the games he has played for Bournemouth, yeah, gotta say, there's been some standout ones and there's been some howlers, but all in all, he always gave his best. I think Meps, no matter what people say, I always think he gave 110% in the shirt, and that's all you can ask for, really. I know a lot of people remember that playoff game where unfortunately he took one for the team a little bit too early.
Yeah.
But that's a shame if he gets remembered just for that. In my opinion, because he did do quite a bit of good, well, quite a lot more good, to be fair, than negative, I think. And when you look at the players that he's had in front of him the last couple of seasons, like Sparney, Dino come in, he's had Snesse come in a few seasons before that, and then we've brought more players in this window. It just looked like he was never going to get above that sort of fourth pecking order. And when you want to go to a World Cup, you've got to, you've got to be playing. So, just like Billing, and everyone that leaves the club, you just wish him all the best. And again, just hope he stays injury free, and I hope he goes to next year's World Cup.
Malcolm, of course, one of the games that was mentioned there, and I mentioned it to Andy Coulton in his article as well, that game against Brentford in the playoff semi-final, where effectively he got quite a chunk of Brian Mbembo, however you say it. Of course, he's at Man United. I can never say his name. However, that naivety has actually come out of his game, and I personally think that it's not Chris Metham's fault why he's not in our side. It's just that our club has kind of progressed, which is fortunate for us, unfortunate for him. Would you say that's probably fair?
Very fair, to be honest with you. Like Phil Bill, he was only going to be a bit part player, called upon whenever.
Hmm.
No guarantees of a first team place with the players we got. Like Matt said, he's moved down the pecking order. But he's still got some years in him. So with the World Cup coming up, and he does really good for Wales. Championship, I've always said he is a solid Championship defender. Premier League is really a totally different ball game, isn't it? So the right move for him. Yeah, good luck, and wish him lots of success. At the Hawthorns. I think we'll see, West Brom pushing on again this season. They've got to be up there with, at least for me, minimum to the playoffs. Love the club. Love to see them come up again. And it's always a decent watch, isn't it? West Brom play some decent football. So yeah, good luck, Mepsy.
Most definitely, and hopefully, fingers crossed, Chris can get them back into the top flight and have another crack in the league, because I personally think he can do that, and I'm sure he has got the ability to play at this level. Unfortunately, we have just, or fortunately for us, I think we've just progressed beyond his talents. One player as well, I just wanted to quickly mention, a former player who is on the move. Of course, Matt Ritchie was frozen out at Portsmouth, and it looked, his boyhood club. He was really disappointed, to be frozen out there. He has completed a 2-year deal. Move to everybody's favourite concrete jungle in Reading. So all the very, very best to him there. Whilst we're at it, just want to quickly mention our two sponsors. Firstly, Touchpoint Telecoms at touchpointtelecoms.co.uk. And in this interlude, just going to play a little video about our main sponsors, Dental on the Banks at dentalonthebanks.co.uk.
I should be like you, Mel.
There we are. If you need your gnashers done and get those sorted, go to dentalonthebanks.co.uk and they'll sort it all out for you. Just wanted to quickly touch upon as well, Hamid Traore. And Matt, just tell us a little bit of the news, because that's kind of breaking at the moment.
Yeah, so according to sources, and I think Malcolm's seen it as well, he looks set to join Marseille in Liga 1 on loan, with an obligation in the contract, in the loan deal, for them to buy at the end of the loan deal. So yeah, There's some conditions in there. Looks like one of them being that they don't have to buy if they're relegated, which doesn't look like that's going to happen. So it looks like we've seen him in a Bournemouth shirt for the last time this time. So again, another move, I think, and obviously I don't know what you two think, but in my opinion, I think he's a good player. I think, fortunately, it's not worked out for him here. He's got an assist on the board already this season, because obviously that went down for an assist at Liverpool with his little turning pass there that he put Semenyo through with. But yeah, all in all, I think it's probably best again for the player. He looked a really exciting prospect when he come in, but it just hasn't materialised. So again, wish him all the best. Hope he has a good season. Are Marseille playing Champions League? Does anybody know? Or European football they playing?
They are, I believe. Yeah, I think they are.
So he's playing European football as well. So really, in some respects, you probably see it as a step up. So yeah, all in all, fair play to him and all the best.
Yes, most definitely, most definitely. Who knows? I think that he might be coming up against Phil Billing this next season. Yes, it will be very, very interesting to see what happens there. I tell you what, let's go on to somebody who has been linked with AFC Bournemouth, and this again is quite new news. And here we go. So the Cherries are interested in Italy striker. Italia striker. Do you remember Italian 90? Used to be
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Italia 90. Used to be a Mega Drive game as well. Used to play it religiously, to be honest. And of course that World Cup. Pinamonti has been confirmed. So this is interest in Pinamonti. I believe I've said that right. Mark McAdam, if you are watching, please correct me if I've said it wrong, or if I need to say it with a little bit more of an Italian accent. But here we go. Andrea Pinamonti is expected to remain with Sassuolo this season, but Football Italia understands that Premier League side AFC Bournemouth have inquired after the 26-year-old Italian. Two Premier League sides have now expressed an interest in picking up Pinamonti from Sassuolo, of course, the place where we got Hamid Traore from this summer, including Leeds United. Who are they? Who have since turned to Noah Okafor from Milan instead. Napoli have also made an inquiry following the confirmation of Romelu Lukaku's long-term injury, but again, nothing significant has materialised as the Partenopy, I can't even say that, Partenopy, focus on Manchester United's Rasmus Højlund. If you are Italian, I apologise. Football Italia, there we are, understands that there has also been an approach from Bournemouth over the last few days, but as things stand, there have been no significant openings. It remains to be seen whether there will be any major development in Pinamonti's story before the end of the summer transfer window next week. If not, he is expected to remain a Neuroverde player for the 25-26 campaign. So that's a article written by Alfredo Perdula. There we are. I do apologise if I have butchered any of the words there. A quick profile snapshot. So he's 26 years of age, 6'2". Centre forward, of course. Current club at Sassuolo. He's contracted till 2027. Recent loan to Genoa, where he got 10 goals in 36 matches. And as you can see there, has got some pedigree in Serie A. His penalty stats, he's got 13 scored out of 16. So a conversion rate of 81.25. So let's bring it to the room. Like what you say?
Interesting.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? I mean, I think Andoni has said that his priority is a centre back.
Yes.
But this guy, he seems to be coming into his peak. I mean, the key thing for me is he going to add? What's he going to add to the squad? I mean, is he the same style as Evan Nilsson, or is he someone that could affect a game differently? And then if you look at the squad, what we've got already, does that mean someone would have to leave for him to come in? Yeah, I mean, there's a few things I'm not overly sure about it, but in terms if he was to join us, I think he could possibly make an impact. What's his goal ratio per game? Did it have that on there?
50 goals in about 213 appearances, so we're looking at about 50%.
And then his career total was 296 to 97. So yeah, I suppose you are roughly looking at every other game, aren't you?
Yeah.
And then his assists, he's chipped in with 19 career assists as well. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be against it, but I just would wonder how he would fit in, and would he want to come here being a main man? I think he's the main man at his current club, isn't he? Is he got the quality to put the pressure on Evan Nilsson? I know a lot of people are still talking about Evan Nilsson hasn't scored yet, but I mean, it's off the ball work that I think he doesn't get a lot of credit for. And I don't always think Evan Nilsson is getting fed the balls he wants as well. So I mean, I know there's a bit of criticism about Evan Nilsson, but at the same time, I think there's more to his game. Has this player got the same kind of thing about him? Would he fit our style of play? Obviously, if this is a serious article, which I think it's Football Italia, isn't it? So they're really quite good on these things. Must mean that obviously the club's done his homework and will obviously suit everything I've just said there. So yeah, be an interesting one to see if this does develop. Obviously, we've got another. If you're watching this prior to the 1st of September, we've got another few days of the transfer window. But yeah, it would be interesting to see if it happens. I still think personally we'll see a defender come in before we see a deal like this materialise. But yeah, I wouldn't be against it. But I just think, what's he going to bring that's different?
Yeah, no, fair enough. Fair enough. Well, Malcolm, do we need another striker? We've got Enisu now. We've got your mate Krupi. We've got Evan Nilsson. Do we need this guy?
Not currently, I don't think. To be honest with you, good point Matt made about Evan Nilsson. Yeah, he doesn't get the credit for his off the ball work. With Kluivert and Christie coming back in, I think we'll see things change a little bit, and that Evan Nilsson will get off the mark sooner rather than later. And to be very frank, I just think it doesn't matter who puts the ball in the net. If it's shared around, great. So, that conversation doesn't wash with me. But this could be quite an interesting buy. Take nothing away from his stats and everything. Watch this space, I guess. But from what you put up there earlier, that wouldn't mean, they'd be coming in straight away, that it could be, looking ahead to next season.
Or possibly January.
Or, yeah, exactly. So we do know that recruitment do like to dive through and do their homework and sort players out quite early, and they don't bring them in straight away. They obviously have to keep tabs on them, what's their forms and everything else. So yeah, interesting stuff. It just shows, that Bournemouth aren't sleeping, are they? They're still looking, and they'll continue. So we're evolving all the time. So yeah, and always good not to have a big name. The players that come in, that suddenly people say, "Who's that?" And obviously, get on the internet and Google the names and find out all about them. Not a recognised name where you've got to pay silly money for them. So yeah, watch this space.
There we go. Well, of course, we are out as well, and it is the headline of this cherry picking. Have we missed a trick? And by getting knocked out by Brentford in the first round of the Carabao Cup. We're going to assess this. We're going to look at this. We're going to decide exactly what we all think about, getting knocked out against the Bees. We never seem to beat them, do we? So, did we change too much? This is what was said. I think we haven't been at the level that the competition required. If you want to go far in this competition, you have to give a lot in these cup competitions. We haven't been ourselves. I think probably I changed too much. I think there are a lot of players that know that they still have to grow a lot to improve, to get more ready to the level that we are going to demand from them. It's difficult because once the competition is already going, you want to give minutes to the players, but you still have to continue competing. But we have to do it like this. There's no other way. We've already passed the pre-season, so now every trial has consequences. And today we could say that we haven't collectively played well from our side. We were coming from 2 very good games, and today has been a step backwards. We changed a lot, the team, and probably when it doesn't work, I am the first to blame. But we lack some aggression without in our press. With the ball to be more vertical to the sense of urgency, I haven't felt it today. I finished very happy how we moved the ball, but today we've been very far from that level. I think not that 1 or 2 players have made mistakes or they haven't been at the level. I think overall we haven't played well. I think the game overall hasn't been, wouldn't say poor, but not the highest level game. Let's just say no, because it was stopping all the time. We couldn't put our rhythm. You have to adapt to this kind of game. Long throws, free kicks. We made the first mistake in the first goal. We knew we were going to suffer with set pieces, and then it becomes more difficult. So, Malcolm, very quickly, what are your thoughts on the changes from this game?
Matt, after you.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Yeah, my take is, as I said on Cherry AM, PM, too many changes to start with. It was never going to be easy, even without looking at what the opposition was doing. I think if we'd have stayed with maybe 3, maximum 4 players coming in, and then just take the game as it comes. And if changes needed to be made, within the 90 minutes, and only could have done that quite easily. If the game had been in our favour, maybe another couple of players come on and get a few minutes. Also, with Christie and Clivert coming back, they're still a little bit rusty and they need to get up to speed. But I mean, I'm not knocking the system or anything. It is what it is. I'd rather lose this game than the Premier League game, to be very honest with you.
Yeah, 100%. I think we've made our views on Julian Arejo very, very well known by now on the Dean Court Social, on Cherry AMs as well. Matt, what else do you think probably went wrong against Brentford, and how do we put that right?
Well, I think the manager's admitted what's gone wrong. I think too many changes has disrupted the flow of our play. But in defence of the manager, I mean, he's spot on by, where else can you give players that are coming back from, injury minutes and fringe players that, you want to see in a game situation. It's all right watching players on the training field every day, but that's a completely different scenario, different situation. It's, you want to take a look at Soler in a match situation. There's only so much you can tell from training. So I think he would have learned a lot about some of the players, if not maybe the squad as a whole from this game. Justin Clivert, we need back as a starter. He needed minutes, and like Malcolm rightly said, a bit rusty. He definitely was. Christie in the same boat, but let's hope those minutes that they got under their belt Tuesday night will help with the Tottenham game. I I've got to admit, I wasn't overly impressed with James Hill. I thought that was a game that he could have really built on his good performances from the Summer Series, sorry. But I felt, he was quite disappointing, to be fair. Ben Doak, I thought Henry had him in his back pocket. But he's settling in. You've got to give him game time to settle in, as well as obviously what he can do on the training field. Adley, an explosive appearance from the bench against Wolves, but I felt struggled to get into the game. But I mean, it's one of those. The manager wants to try every player out, wants to give him that opportunity to, stick in his mind to say, look, you should be picking me week in, week out. And these kind of games are the only opportunities that we've kind of got after preseason. So I wouldn't say to him, I wouldn't say that the manager's made the wrong decision as such, but I think probably like Malcolm said, maybe not so many changes might have helped things. But yeah, I mean, I felt on the night it was an under par performance by a side that's listed there, in my opinion. If they had come out on form, could have beaten Brentford. In my honest opinion, I think they could have beaten Brentford. I kind of agree with where Malcolm's coming from with, would you rather lose this game than a Premier League game? But at the same time, you've got 38 opportunities to get points on the board. Whereas sometimes I think we need to, I wouldn't say we've disrespected the cup. I wouldn't say that, but I think it'd been nice to have had a cup run in this one. And when you see what Newcastle managed to do last year, I cups like this, I think teams like Bournemouth, should really, really go for, to be honest. It'd be nice to, and we'll talk a little bit further on, but I mean, I think a good cup run would do us the world of good. But yeah, I can see why people would, would rather, obviously, if it's a case of having a good cup run and winning a cup or staying in the Premier League, you're going to pick that, staying in the Premier League all day. But I just think the strength of our squad and the style of football we play and the quality of the management we've got, I think we could juggle it in the right way to have a good cup run and still be, fairly successful in the league.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I'd love a cup run. And that's one thing that we've been crying out for a couple of times, haven't we? So, yeah. Was disappointed with the performance, was disappointed with, of course, certain players in the side. James Hill, wasn't at his best. Adley, I think he was, getting used to the pace of English football. I don't. It's a side that on paper should be able to push Brentford right to the max. And don't get me wrong, I think Brentford are a better side than everybody expected them to be. But at the same time, I'm disappointed with this performance and the manner. And of course, Arejo. I don't want to go over that again, but. The league is our bread and butter, but a cup run would have been monumental for AFC Bournemouth. Has this Carabao Cup become a minor competition now?
I wouldn't say so.
I think it's a really good cup, to be honest, and I enjoy watching Tuesday night games. I mean, it's like, I'm sure we all watched a certain team lose at Grimsby this week. And all had a good laugh. Anyway, moving swiftly on from that. But no, I think it's a really good cup, and I enjoy it. And I think the cup final is always good as well. And I just think that, the Premier League is our bread and butter. But are we good enough to stabilise ourselves in the league and really go for a cup? I mean, last season in the FA Cup, we were, in my opinion, very unfortunate. If we'd have got past City, there's every chance we could have won that last year.
Yeah.
Every chance we could have won it. So, and I know the whole, let's get into Europe and all that, but would you not take 12th place in the league and win in the Carabao Cup?
I would.
Exactly, you would. And I think sometimes And I know the league is the bread and butter. You've got to be very, very careful when it comes to cups and things. I know that, if we were to have 2 really good cup runs but get relegated, everyone would be saying, well, we should have been playing our reserves in the cups and that. But don't you think, like, now, with the kind of squad and what Andoni is building, that we couldn't have a good go with it? I mean, look at Palace, what Palace managed to do last season. I know some of their players have moved on elsewhere now, but they've managed to, be safe in the league, but, win a cup. And, I know everyone says about, European qualification through the league, but, why not do it through a cup? And I just think it, would put Bournemouth on the map a bit. To win some silverware, would really put us on the map. I know we're on the map anyway. We're on TV everywhere around the world every weekend. But I just think, it would really give us some real, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. I'm looking for a word and it's not popping in there. But
Yeah,
it would give us
it
some
would
real
cement our place, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and I just think it'd be great to win it, to win a cup, and I just think it would really put us on the map.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And have we missed a trick? I'm just going to quickly run through this as well. Just get it full screen so I can read it properly. So the first major trophy, Bournemouth has never won a top-tier domestic cup. Lifting the Carabao Cup would mark their first ever major silverware, instantly rewriting the club's history books. European qualification, the Carabao Cup winners earns a spot in the Europa Conference League. What a tongue twister. Giving Bournemouth a chance to compete on the European stage, a dream for fans and a huge draw for future signings. The validation of the investment, Bill Foley's ambitious spending and vision for the club would be vindicated. It would show that Bournemouth isn't just building, they're winning. Boost for the South Coast, it would shine a spotlight on a club often overshadowed by bigger names. Bournemouth would become a symbol of what smart management and bold ambition can achieve, and fan euphoria for supporters who have seen the club from League Two to the Premier League. A cup win would be an emotional payoff for us after years of, wow, let's be fair, of struggles. So yes, it would be a pretty amazing thing to achieve. So there we go. I tell you what, let's finally end on Guess the Cherry, and I'll just quickly run through the clues here. So our cherry was born on the 1st of April 1929. I was there. No, I wasn't. In Derry, Northern Ireland. Bournemouth and Boscombe Athletic. 1955 to 58. He played 96 matches, scoring 34 goals, including a legendary FA Cup run in 1956 to 57, becoming a cult hero by distracting opponents during throw-ons, jumping up and down in front of them, which was legal at the time. Any guesses, guys?
Well, I know, so I can't guess, but
Malcolm?
I was still in nappies in that cup run, so I wouldn't have a clue, mate.
Here we go. Here we go. It is Ollie Norris. There we go. Ollie Norris is your Guess the Cherry this week. So if you've got that, you are very, very, very clue. And I think that you should go on the chase. There we are. I've said it now. Go on the chase if you've got that correct, because you're onto something. Finally, we just want to end with some sad news. And Matt, I'll let you do the honours here.
Yeah, so this recently we've lost former player Kevin Daughtry, who was part of the promotion winning squad that myself and Paul from Oz recently covered on a special show from the early 80s. Started his career at Southampton, where he made one senior appearance and played over 100 reserve matches. Had a short spell at Palace, where he made no first team appearances, but it was at Bournemouth where he became a more of a regular first teamer, where he made 63 appearances, scoring 11 goals. and he was a very, very key contributor during a transitional period. He also played on loan at Reading, Rhodesea Southampton, Salisbury City, Fareham Town, Gosport, and Blackfield and Langley. And his post-playing career, he managed Totton and Ealing for 5 years. So, yeah, this week's cherry picking is dedicated to the memory of Kevin Daughtry.